And now we are going to see what the trees are trying to make us promise. Whenever you see an oak tree felled, swear now you will plant two. So an oak tree which are felled every time, someone or other cutting down the trees, felling down the trees here and there. And whenever as a human being we will experience or witness such kind of a cutting down of trees, swear now you will plant two. So we need to swear. We need to promise. We need to take a vow that whenever one tree is felled, it will be replaced with the plantation of at least two saplings. So we'll have to plant two trees whenever a single tree is cut down, because a full-grown tree should be considered to be one of the greatest and finest assets on planet Earth. So one tree is felled, we have to replace it with two trees by planting two trees at the same time. And in this way, we can simply create a kind of checks and balance in the process of the depletion of the natural resources. So what can happen if we plant two trees? Then probably the balancing factor will be there. We are yet losing. Still the speed of the loss probably can be lessened or decreased a little bit. So whenever you see an oak tree felled, swear now you will plant two. Unless you swear, the black oak bark will wrinkle over you. So boys, you need to notice this particular line and the line following after or following this very carefully, because here something different is being said. Now the black oak bark, normally oak barks are not black. Whitish, greenish, a little bit brownish, but not black as such. So what is the reference that the poet wants to bring in by using the particular phrase black oak bark? It refers to the destroyed bark of the changed, withered bark of the particular cut down trees. Just think of a human being. A human being dies and the complexion of the skin changes. A human being dies of some disease or something like that, dies out of torture or something like that. Obviously, there is a visible change on the pallor of the skin, on the complexion of the particular person. Similarly, the oak trees which have been felled, actually the bark has been converted into black, because black is simply the color of depression, the color of a different kind of suppression and sorrow. So it's a sorrowful incident. It is actually a kind of depressing factor. The trees have been killed, the trees have been felled, and on account of that, black oak bark will wrinkle over you, grow. And wrinkle, that is wizened up, kuchke jawa, chamra kuchke jawa. So the tree will grow over human beings. Actually, the existence of mankind has been possible on planet Earth on account of the existence of trees. By being benefited by them, rather by deriving benefits from them, taking help of the trees, we survive. So we forget that if the trees do not survive, human beings will not survive at all, and all the other living organisms will become some completely extinct things. And the black oak bark will wrinkle over man. That means man will not be allowed to grow and root you among the oaks where you were born but never grew. So we have been born among the oaks. So Mother Planet Earth holding the trees, and the trees and planet Earth, the whole atmosphere of the planet makes it compatible for human life to exist. So it is their help on account of which we are surviving, but we will be born born in a condition where scarcity of trees will be there. Most of the trees will not be there. And in that condition, we'll be born, but we will never grow. So life probably will not prevail. We will probably be born on planet Earth as human child, but we will lose the whole thing. We will lose actually the very existence of mankind. We will not grow, neither physically nor psychologically. So that is a kind of doomsday for us. Just think of another reference after the atomic explosion in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Even after centuries, children are born, but born with discrepancies, born with handicap, born as premature, immature, and defective children. Similarly, in absence of trees, human beings will be born, but the trees, black oak bark will cover us up. Black oak barks, the fell down trees, the destroyed natural environment will not remain compatible, and ultimately we will not have condition befitting for our existence on planet Earth. So we will never be able to grow. Now this was my dream beneath the boughs. So what was the dream? The dream was the poet peeped inside the little bag after entering the woods, oak woods, where he has come across the old woman, the old haggard looking lady wearing tattered clothes, and the lady made him see a vision. He peeped inside the bag, saw that he was tied to a stake, and he was surrounded by a staring tribe of oak trees. And the oak trees simply threatened him that unless he makes a promise to plant 2 trees, whenever one oak tree is felled, human beings will have to suffer the punishment of death. How? Human beings will be born on planet Earth, but they will not be allowed to grow. The black oak barks would wrinkle over him and root him among the oaks where he was born, but he never grew. That means we will not have any condition compatible for human living at all. So that was the dream beneath the boughs. That means the branches. Maybe in the normal sense of the term, the boy came inside the wood, and in search of the stag, he probably was tired, he was exhausted, he sat down under a tree and fell asleep and had a dream kind of a thing. But when he came out, the dream that altered me. Now that particular dream altered him, changed him, converted him psychologically, and when I came out of the oak wood back to human company. So the poet came out of the particular oak wood because the dream was over. In real life, this kind of things never do happen, but don't consider it to be simply a dream seen in a sleeping condition. It should be considered as a warning that we are doing something foolish, we are doing something stupid by felling down trees, and we are to pay a price for that. That realization dawned on me. Simply the consciousness rose in him and he was psychologically altered. How earlier he also was a man who was least bothered about the destruction of the green covering, about the cutting down of trees. But now when he came out of the oak wood back to human company, my walk was the walk of a human child. So the particular walk was the walk of a human child. That means a human being. Physically he has not altered, physically he has not changed, but my heart was a tree, but psychological change has occurred. The heart was a tree. What does it mean? He has developed a feeling, he has developed a kind of consciousness for the importance of trees, and the consciousness has simply dawned on him on account of the dream which he had sitting down under an oak tree inside the particular wood. And the new consciousness makes him a much more sensible man. That man who has now understood the real importance and value of the trees in human life. How important it is to conserve the trees, to preserve the trees, and how important it is to coexist amicably, to coexist peacefully in order to have a beautiful planet all together. So the selfishness has to be simply shed aside. We need to be conscious, we need to be sensible, we need to protect the trees so that the trees also keep on protecting us. So dear boys, I have tried to explain this particular poem to you. Maybe there will be a little bit of problem because we are not being able to have an interactive class right now. But I hope that will help you out in understanding the basic tenets of the particular poetry. Your assignment can be given here. Practice all the exercises that is given at the end of the particular text. Along with it, I am providing some extra questions along with this particular one class. At the end of the class, you will be able to see that thing. And when you get those questions, copy those questions and write them, practice them, and when you come back, when we meet each other rather, we will be discussing those questions which will prepare you properly and completely for the ensuing exam. Thank you.